Candace Owens has a platform of 7 million people. Truth matters. Words matter. Charlie Kirk was obsessed with words and in giving platforms to people who did not agree with him so that he could volley back and speak truth from the Bible and what he believed. And he got a lot of hate, a lot of vitriol from students. I have been, for this past week, looking a lot of the videos that he would do at campuses and colleges and different events, and really respect how he was able to just go into these situations, no notes, just his own brain. He loved to learn. He said he took 2 hours a day to learn something new. He didn't have any college or university degree. He started Turning Point USA out of his parents' garage at 18. And for the first 5 years, he said the salary he just put right back into it. So when he hired Candace Owens in 2017, he was not racist because she was clearly a Black woman. And he and she and his small little staff would travel over the U.S. in cars and planes, and she got to know him, and she made a beautiful tribute to Charlie, which I enjoyed watching. But she kept saying how she was best friends with Charlie. And so I want to just break that down because she's used this past week to have a platform about finding Charlie's killer. And Charlie, I am not sure, would be on board with her with this as she claims. So let's think about what she's been doing prior to the assassination. She has been going down a rabbit trail with Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron in France. She's been obsessed about Brigitte's privates, as we know. And I think that came and started when she was very upset, concerned that Brigitte had met Emmanuel when he was 15 and she was a teacher in high school. Now, France, their laws are different than our laws here, and 15 is the age of consent. Yet Candace kept going, believing that Brigitte groomed him, and then that she had had a operation. I have to be careful what I say on here. And so that this operation changed her private parts. And then she ultimately ended up saying that Brigitte is really Emmanuel's biological father. Okay, now I am sure when Charlie heard this, he had his own stance on people with biological operations, and he would talk to students about that, and he would respectfully call them the name that they gave him when he was on these campuses. And he would often, be given a lot of hate from them, and he would say that he disagreed, and they took that as him promoting violence, which he wasn't. As I listened to him, he wasn't. And he often would say he would pray for them, but they, of course, did not like that because they wanted him to believe as they do. And Charlie did not, and he stood up, basing his arguments on the Bible and also just meds, how they impact us, and side effects, and surgeries, how they also impact us. And he cared about that. That's something that people aren't talking about. He actually cared about the stats of that particular group committing suicide even after the surgery, and also the continued depression that there's also stats on. So that's a whole other subject. But he loved these people, is what I want to say. He was not hating them. He was hoping they wouldn't go down the surgical path, but it wasn't that he hated them. And yet Candace has a lot of hate towards Brigitte, very clearly, and that's very concerning. And she has then made these assumptions through her, quote, research, because she refers to herself as reporting things, that she is determined that Emmanuel Macron is the son of Brigitte, who's really a biological male. Now the Macrons have now put a lawsuit out against Candace. So this will be a very interesting lawsuit. I'm interested in this, what will come out of it, because it'll very easily be proven based on DNA. And I'm sure both Emmanuel and Brigitte will have to give that to see if they are father and son. But because Candace has a platform of 7 million people, words matter, truth matters. And that is something that Charlie really cared about. So I think he would be definitely in disagreement about how she went about that. She also was tying the Macrons because of what she learned about them, because she believes that Brigitte's a pedophile, going after Emmanuel at 15. She sees them as being part of a global pedophile ring. And that is also another leap to do that. So I think that also would have concerned Charlie. Her stance that Charlie was killed by Israel, by the Jews, by Zionists, is also something that Charlie would be, I believe, objecting to, based on his love of Israel. Now, she says because Charlie openly criticized the Israeli government on certain issues, that they killed him for that. And I'm thinking, Charlie criticized the American government on issues. Charlie came out and was very vocal about he and Trump not agreeing about the abortion issue. And Candace has bizarrely tied in Israel into a pedophile state now. So this would then combine with her belief about the global pedophile ring, that she believes that Israel as a state, as a country, is now harboring pedophiles, promoting pedophilia, and that it's basically an evil country, according to her. Now, does not Candace know that the Catholic Church, which she became a member of, I think a year ago, because her husband's Catholic, does she not know that they harbored and have harbored and most likely still are harboring pedophile priests that was horrific? I mean, there was thousands. There was like 1,700 I was reading across the states. So we have to then look at America as harboring pedophiles, Candace. And why aren't you going after the Catholic Church to find the link there with the global pedophile ring that you were referring to? Because clearly that's a fact that you could pursue. Yet she's not. She's focusing in on Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron, and now she's focusing in on Israel. Yet her Catholic Church is not part of this at all. But logically, if you look at that, you would think that she has a great opportunity, especially now that she's Catholic, to pursue that within the Catholic Church. Now, clearly, Catholics are not all pedophiles, just like not all Americans are pedophiles and not all Israelis are pedophiles. But she's making these huge leaps that if it's in this certain place, that now everybody is. And now all Israel is evil. And now the Macrons are evil and part of this global pedophile ring. And so somehow it almost sounds to me like Charlie was going to be exposing something. She sort of drops these hints. She always insinuates and has these things that tickle people's ears, about what she believes and what she's promoting. Charlie loved Israel. He was in Israel 2 times. He was going to go a 3rd time, I read. He was planning that trip. When students would ask him about why he believed in the Bible, and he would always point to Israel. Israel was the source for him because Israel confirmed the Bible. He could go where Jesus, Yeshua, the rabbi, walked. He could see the places that are talked about in the Bible. He could go touch and pray at the Western Wall. And to him, he loved Israel for that reason alone. So hearing Candace, before he was assassinated, be so anti-Israel, I know did not sit well. Thus why his Protestant pastor had to come out and say something, say that Charlie did not agree with her, and that please respect the family's time of mourning. And if Candace is clearly a best friend of Charlie, shouldn't she be this week with Erica, helping Erica through this horrific trauma? I mean, Erica saw her husband. Hopefully she didn't see him, but she was there with him with the horrific assassination. And it went global because it was caught on videotape. And so everybody has seen the horrific murder of her husband. She's having to deal with a trauma that's far beyond Candace Owens' show. And Candace Owens claims that if Erica doesn't want her ranting about how Israel killed Charlie, that Erica should tell her to stop. Really? You really think that Erica this week is listening to you, Candace? Truly? And really, if Candace was best friends, then she would be there with Erica, helping Erica in Arizona, because Erica is planning for Sunday, just a few days away, to have amazing celebration of life for Charlie, her beloved husband. That stadium seats 60,000 plus people. It's huge. And if Candace were such best friends with Charlie, won't she be there giving a talk? I haven't heard Candace say anything about that, how she will be on stage on Sunday, which then calls into question, was she really best friends, as she says, with Charlie? And the other thing she's been saying is that Mossad is the one who killed Charlie. Well, I'm sorry. If you knew anything about the Mossad, Candace, the Mossad comes in and out, and there's no sign of them. There would be no text messages that sound like old farts between a 22-year-old and his lover. Clearly, I agree with Candace on that, and many other people have said that. Those texts don't seem real. No, I agree. But Mossad wouldn't be leaving a rifle that you could have a picture of. They wouldn't be leaving footage of a figure moving across the roof and falling down the side of the wall of the building, running, limping, or whatever he was doing. There wouldn't be grainy photos of anybody. The Mossad leaves no trace. So please do not say it's the Mossad. That's just laughable to the Mossad, I have to say, Candace. And to say then that it was somebody close to Charlie, that's another thing she's been putting out there. Again, where are the facts? This is just, to me, very shameful to do the week that the family is grieving, as Charlie's pastor said. And by the way, Charlie was Protestant. His wife was Catholic. So that's another thing that Candace is dropping, that Charlie was going to be converting to Catholicism. She knows this for a fact. Really? She claims because he was going to Mass. Yes, he was going to Mass because his wife of 5 years went to Mass. And I'm sure Charlie joined her with that. But he also was attending his Protestant church. And the fact that she's making this huge leap, and she says that she talked to Charlie recently and said to him, "You're too smart to be Protestant." Like somehow Protestants aren't smart. Really, Candace? You're really going to put that out there with all your following? I mean, maybe she only has Catholic followers, but I would assume that she has Christian followers too. And that's a huge slap to her Protestant followers, I would imagine. But there she goes. She's claiming that he was going to be converting to Catholicism. But I have to say that what I heard Charlie say when he was on stage with Michael Knowles, who is another conservative and a Catholic, they were talking about faith and church, and students were giving them, questions, asking them questions. And Michael Knowles kept bringing it back to the Catholic Church. And Charlie, if you listen to him, kept bringing it back to Jesus, Yeshua. It's The faith is in Jesus. It's not in a church. Charlie didn't keep bringing up his Protestant church, but Michael did. Yet Charlie kept bringing it back beautifully to Jesus, Yeshua, the rabbi, the teacher, the sacrificial lamb. That's who Charlie kept bringing it back to. And that, again, would be another disagreement he would have had with Candace. I would encourage you, though, those of you who believe in Candace, to listen to Dennis Prager's open letter to Candace, because he was very concerned, and especially after October 7th, 2023, when Candace made no comment, zero zip, about the massacre of the Jews. 1,195 Jews massacred. They were tortured and raped before they were murdered. That was videoed by the terrorists, I didn't want to say their names, and sent to people that those victims knew and loved. That was heinous. And yet she didn't comment on that. She didn't comment on the 250 hostages. When she finally opened her mouth, she blamed Israel. Okay, this is, again, I do not know if there is a Catholic offshoot that she is following that's very anti-Zionist. And Zionism, by the way, only means you believe the Jewish people should have the state of Israel place to live. That's all it means. They are surrounded, Israel is surrounded by 22 Arab states, Candace. And the fact that you are basically wanting to blot out Israel sounds a lot like your friend Andrew Tate, who converted to being a Muslim. I don't know. Maybe Catholics can inform me if there is a section that still believes in the Inquisition and the Crusades, and that the murdering of Jews is fine. I know there's replacement theology that's going on in both Protestant and Catholic churches, and that's where the people believe that the Jews in Israel are no more, that they are replaced by the Catholic and Christian as the true Jew and the true Israel. This is very anti the Bible, and Charlie believed that as well. He did not believe in replacement theology. So again, our words are important. What we say, especially with a platform of 7 million, truth matters. And I just urge you again, please go listen to Dennis Prager. He had hired Candace after she worked for Charlie. He really gave her a level of fame before she went to work for Ben Shapiro. Both men are conservative Jews who really enabled her to have the spotlight she has today. But she needs to be held accountable for what she is saying. And the words she's using, it's important. What we say and words matter. Truth matters. And that's another thing. Charlie Kirk loved the book Truth Matters that was written by Cornel West, who is Black and who is a very liberal socialist Democrat, and his friend who's a white conservative named Robert P. George. Both men highly, highly educated. They have Harvard, Princeton, Oxford degrees. But Charlie loved that book. He read it, and then he had them on to discuss it. And Cornel West, the Black educator philosopher, was so impressed with Charlie. Once again, Charlie was not a racist. I'm just putting this out there. Cornel West really appreciated that Charlie had read the book Truth Matters, that Charlie wanted to talk to him even more than his conservative white co-author, and he wanted to pick his brain, West said. Charlie really wanted to find out more about how West thought. And West only said highly thoughtful things about Charlie. He said he was respectful, he was a listener, he was humble. And these are things that we need to really go to, and not this atrocious condemnation of Israel that they killed him without facts. That's just egregious, and I know that would hurt Charlie's heart as well. God bless. God loves you.